I should be scared about getting canceled for it?
No. So Ford Boss Me is someone on YouTube who's a high-level tech. And for many reasons, I think that his expertise came from Ford anyway. And that's where he spent most of his career. And then now he's shifted into private shops like myself. And now he works for some private shop in some unnamed area that he's having some challenges with the customers and the staff and all that stuff. And I respect that because, you know, I kind of go through the same things. So what he was saying is that he was discussing his staff where their work ethics and some other stuff, and he didn't elaborate on it, so that was one video. And then he started discussing comebacks. What do you do with the comeback for that technician? And I didn't finish watching your video, and I apologize, I will the other day. So my policy for comeback is if the technician completely screws up, we'll just say he left the lug nuts loose and the wheel fell off. Dude, you're on the hook for the tow and the repair and the parts to make that right. If the technician left the battery cable loose and it's something simple, you can have a little talk with him and and encourage him to pay more attention to his job. What other comebacks do we have that are for human-induced? Human-induced.
Human-induced?
Not product failure, because you can't blame the technician for an alternator or starter that failed 2 days after the job, or a sensor that's not compatible, or some BS like that, or CAT efficiency code aftermath, things of that. You can't blame your installer, your technician for that.
Something that's still leaking or causing an issue. Something entirely different, like you're cutting up an exhaust system and you nick something else.
Right. So I think he was more to say a comeback, and I would say comeback from sloppy workmanship, doesn't care. I hold my people accountable, even myself. Like, I screw up sometimes, but everything falls back on me, so I'm 100% accountable. But this is their profession, and they want customers to come back and use Caleb's services, and Jude's services, and my services, and Rachel's services. So there's got to be a sense of quality and pride in their workmanship and what they do, or I would say they wouldn't be doing it, right? Because you really enjoy this, you really love it.
Yeah.
And I think some guys who've been around, he said productive environment. So if you got and I'll say this, if we had customers coming in here all the time, stopping you, harassing you, MFing you, torturing you, you never even touched your car, you never did anything to it, do you want to come to work and be dealing with that all day long? So I would say productive environment like that. Like, customers come here all the time, and there's a certain section of our parking lot that we have named for the behavior, I'm going to say, of the people who pull into our parking lot, because our regular customers don't display this behavior, right? They know where to park.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily come banging on the door, walk in the shop and stop us. They go the service. They follow protocol, right? You walk into the bank, you walk in through the front door. You don't go banging on the back door. So same here. You walk up to the office, you go inside, you see the service writer, you see what's going on for intake, and they help you, and then she says, hey guys, this is what I have for you, and so on and so forth. So if you don't like what's going on in that shop environment, maybe the neighborhood changed or something changed, it's not necessarily the shop or you, that these people are just torturing you as a mechanic. I wouldn't want that all day long. I mean, what do we do? As soon as they walk in the shop, you got to go up front. They pull behind the bay, you got to go up front. Yep. That's the way to go. You don't walk into a dealership service department and bother their technicians while they're getting paid to fix someone else's car. So that could be one thing. Maybe it's too cold, or it's too hot, or it's too sweaty, or the cars are too junky. There's a lot of product of environment ways to go. And sometimes this job isn't a lot of fun. Most of the time it is, because it's a huge learning experience. There's a sense of satisfaction. But he was saying, how do you handle the comeback? It's got to be a sliding scale. I mean, if you got a technician, and we had a technician, right? I couldn't sleep at night because of the quality of his work. I had to let him go. I just couldn't do it. After you talk to him and you say, hey, this is what you should be doing, double check yourself, whatever the case may be.
And he was given plenty of chances.
Correct, above and beyond.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's just got to be a point where you punch his card and say, pack your shit, you're out of here, I can't do it anymore. That's on the other end of the scale of, I think, what he's saying, but it's still relative, is that, what do you do for a comeback? Well, it's got to be evaluated. If it's a guy who doesn't care about his job, he's just there, trying to just clock in his hours, and he's not he's incomplete in the processes, he's not checking out the car. That's not what we're here for. You know, it's a team thing. So if you got one guy that's come back, and the other guys are doing their job, well, what's going on, you know? So my thing is, if it's technician induced or a lack of training, right? So what I say, when I talked to Jude about when he was snapping lug nuts off,
Yeah.
I couldn't get Jude to get that cognitive from his hands to the gun to his brain with our high power guns, and he was breaking lug nuts all the time. Like, all right, you're gonna have to use torque sticks until you get.
I eventually got it.
You did, which
That's just,
I get it.
It's a learning curve.
But what I'm saying is, I have to teach you, right? And after I teach you, and you still can't figure that out, and you make the same mistake, you got to go.
yeah.
So, educating the person on it. And if it's multiple things, then you have a basket case. But if it's, you know, a product failure, like I said, no, I don't pin that back on the technician. I know, and I still pay him to correct the problem because we're part of the team. If it's complete, he effed up, then yeah, I hold them accountable because I say this to all the time. We are professionals. Customers come to us because we're the pros. And they may not see us as the pros because they don't know any better, right?
Well, they think the dealership is the end all be all.
When they're not, when you
They're
see
not.
that, right? I've proven that time and time again. Dealership techs sometimes are no better than, and I'm just going to use this and don't get all pissed off, Jiffy Lube or Pep Boys or Mavis technicians. They don't usually have a super duper guy. I heard Firestone has some super duper guys. I can't really say that for sure. But yeah, comebacks, nobody wants them. Aftermarket parts breeds a lot of comebacks. That's why we shifted into using more OEM parts for electronics today and then aftermarket. And that's it. So the technician has to be held accountable. These guys make really good wages nowadays, and I only see it going up from here. And if it's product, you can't pin that on the technician whatsoever. Thanks for watching.